We're going to add the jump logic to our character now. In the place where we calculate the direction, we want the value here to be -1 when we want to make the character jump. But the rest of the time, we want it to fall, so we want the value to be 1.0. The reason we need -1 to go up is that the y-axis in the game engine, is pointing down, like in most game engines. So we are going to use something called a ternary operator. It's something similar to doing if condition, then do something, and having an else block, except that we can write it all in one line. It works like that. So we want the value to be -1 if the player just pressed the jump key. Otherwise, we want the character to fall. -1 if we just press the jump key, else 1.0. It's going to make the character fall down. And we want to do a little more than that, because with this condition only, we will be able to jump anytime mid-air. So we want to add and is on floor. Is on floor is a function that you have on kinematic body 2D. So if I control click on it, you will see the kinematic body 2D docs. Returns true if the body is on the floor, and it only updates when we call move and slide. This is why we want to have that move and slide here in our player script, so we have control over when we move the character. So the is on floor and is on wall, ceiling, those kinds of functions just work. Okay, so this gives us the jump direction. Now we're going to do a little something to make our code easier to maintain and to read in the future. We're going to move that vector2 here to a function, to have a function that calculates the direction for us. And I'll explain in a second why we do that. So we're going to create a function called getDirection that is going to return a vector2. And we are going to return that value that we were assigning to our direction variable. So select it all, Control X to cut, and in my getDirection function, I'm going to put the return keyword. This is the value that the function is going to return, and paste our calculation. And in the direction variable, we're going to get the direction. We're going to call that function. We are doing that to keep our code easy to read moving forward. Because, for example, if a teammate wants to understand how the player moves, if you use functions like these, you only need the physics process function and a few lines to understand the type of motion that the character does. And then if you want to dive in the details, if you want to make a change to the direction code, it's in that getDirection function. This doesn't seem like much as our player is simple, but you will see by the end of the tutorial, we'll have added quite a few lines of code, and it will make our code easier to read than shoving everything in physics process.